Obviously, a big game. Great to be back at home. We haven't been at home in maybe about 28 days since we played a home game, which is kind of unusual, but it's how the schedule panned out for us this year. So, you know, I mean, last time we were at home was electric atmosphere. Fans gave us a great home field advantage, and that's so critical in this league. So, you know, hopefully we have a great turnout for the game, an electric atmosphere, and a great home field advantage to play to our benefit. Going to be a tough game. Playing the team we played last year was a double overtime battle. You know, so we know how physical they are of a team against a team, kind of a little bit of their back against the wall. They've been in some tight games, close games, struggled a little bit, but they play great defense. Got some veteran guys over there, big physical guys on defense, do a great job stopping the run. You know, forcing you to execute and up and down the field offensively. They get their quarterback back, which is obviously going to be a huge benefit to them with a very veteran offensive line. So it's going to be a huge challenge for our guys this week, and you know, so we need to have a great week of practice coming off the bye. Hopefully, guys are mentally and a little physically fresher and get ready to go. And hopefully, we got a huge turnout with our fan base and create that advantage for us that other people have.
Questions?
Coach, J.T. Gray has steadily made a climb up the tackle chart for your defense. Just what have you seen from him lately? I know he had a good game against Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's as a safety. You know, doing a little bit more than he's done in the past for us on the field, and so I think he's getting more comfortable growing into that. You know, he's a very physical player. Has the ability to make plays in the open field, has the ability but plays the game physically. So with the speed and the physicality, we expect him to be a playmaker on the field, and it's good to see him start to improve for his senior year.
And you mentioned last week that Brady Todd and Jamal Couch probably get a little bit more first-team reps. What did you see from them last week?
I thought they both had a really good approach to practice. You know, of working hard, and you know. Did what you'd hope they do and expect to do. Now, you know, I mean, as young players, it is. I mean, they have to you know, it can't be, hey, in a couple days I did good for a couple days, so I'm okay now. I mean, it is a long, hard journey and a path to success. So to see them be successful, I need to see them continue to grind, continue to improve, and continue to grow up that ladder, and move up that ladder. I guess both of them. And so, you know, it'll be good to see if they continue on that path. Hopefully, you know, you're going to see more and more of them and more production out of both of them.
Kind of an off the beaten path question for you. A lot of teams in college football have kind of trophies for creating turnovers on the sidelines, like a championship belt or a big gold chain. To you, have you thought about doing anything like that?
No, but I mean, there's some. That's cool, you know. But I mean, everybody. I mean, I think we created the Juice Boys things, you know, where everybody cheers before the kickoff and the guys getting juiced on the sidelines. And so, a couple years ago, I see a lot of people do that too. But good ideas, and you see people probably, you know, some people take some ideas from other people. So nothing with that yet for us.
Coach, last year BYU had one of the better running back tandem you saw all year. They're gone now. What's kind of their personality now? What do you see different about them this year?
Well, it's tough because their quarterback's been hurt, you know, and he's a guy that was a quarterback before, you know, and played a bunch for him, Tanner Mangum. So he's got a veteran experience, and he's got an offensive line that's pretty solid in front of him. But I think it'll be interesting to get him back. Even though he's still banged up, to get him back, they're going to be more comfortable in what they do, and you know, be able to stay a little bit more balanced with the passing game, the threat of the passing game, with him back in the game.
Coach, you mentioned that a decision on the league might be coming this week. Is anything been decided there? And guys?
Yeah, I mean, nah, chances are we'll redshirt him at this point, but I'll see. I haven't met with him today.
Will any of the other guys that have been out be available?
Yeah, we expect Gabe back, Trevor Jung back. You know, so that's a couple starters. Martinez, I'm not sure yet. Corey Thomas, we're not sure yet. We'll have to check and see. You know, we haven't practiced since Wednesday, so you know, I'm waiting to see what we get on the field today and tomorrow, and see what Dan's report is for him.
If Martinez is out, does that change what do you do with the offensive line as far as like center goes, or would it just be Island at left tackle?
Yeah, I mean, we have some flexibility, we're not, I mean, obviously not the flexibility you want, but we could potentially move guys around and have some different guys play different spots. On the line, you could have, because you have Greg there, I mean, Elton's played out there before him, so you have rotation at the center you can do, move somebody out to tackle, there's a bunch of different combinations we can use. Obviously, though, that's a part to our team that right now, you know, you have one senior, you want to really take your time and develop your depth there, and the injuries are not allowing us to do that.
Kind of expanding on Jamal and Reggie Todd, you talked about being consistent. Is that just something that comes with experience or more reps, or your thoughts on that?
Yes. You know, I mean, you got to do it 10,000 times to know what you're doing. And so, you know, and they're both guys that were, you know, a little bit raw coming out of high school, and so they're both developmental guys that have a lot of talent and ability. So it just takes a lot of work, you know, for them of understanding how to be an every down wide receiver, but they have the potential.
Todd talked about improving the discipline of the defense. How did you see those guys improve over the bye week after those two?
Well, I think we just, you know, the opportunity to get back to some basics and you know, take your time on some of the basics of stuff, and you know, some of the big plays that were given up or missed assignments. You know, I mean, defensively, if a guy goes the wrong way, there's a gap there, you know. Now, sometimes you might not get exposed on a play, you know, you might get away with one, and the offense just called a play to not take advantage of it. Other times they do, and if they find that gap, then there's nobody standing in the middle of the field when they're supposed to be. It's pretty easy throw and catch for a touchdown. So, you know, just spend time, though, on the guys' basics and communication and talking and comfort level of making plays.
When you had teams that were good at creating big plays in the kick return game, what was it about those units that made that the case?
That's a lot of different things, you know. It's really the guys blocking. You got to have a returner that trusts what's going on, but you got to be really disciplined within the blocking and what you're doing. It's kind of when it's hit the most, you know, and it depends a lot on who you're playing. You know, the opportunities you get sometimes are good. I think in my years of coaching and working with kickoff return, we led the country in kickoff returns once. It was 2003 at Utah. But unfortunately, I think we had one game where we had a bunch of kickoff returns that we hit 3 of them. And so you really don't want a bunch of kickoff returns in a game. And we ended up getting a lot of yards, and that put us up statistically wise. So, you know, it's just it's the guys executing it up front and the returner trusting it, and then depending on the situations of the game, how many opportunities you get.
I mentioned that this has probably been the most productive Grant Harris has been for his career here. Why do you think that's been the case?
I think he's just, you know, he's just grown and matured right now as a junior. You know, we recruited him. I expected a bunch out of him, and you know, and kind of maybe took a little bit longer to kind of show what he can do. And you know, this year, fortunately for him, he's continued to stick with it, continued to work. Coach Bake's done a good job coaching him. You know, and pushing him and sticking with him, and all of a sudden you're starting to see him be productive and make some plays.
BYU's had kind of a tough stretch here, losing 5 straight. What have you seen some of their issues been over the last 5 games or so?
Well, you know, I mean, it's a bunch. One, the turnovers, I think, have hurt them, like anything, and so I think one of the things you gotta look is they've had some self-inflicted errors that you look and say, okay, well, boy, they've struggled these games. Well, take away those self-inflicted errors, they don't struggle. And so, what if they show up here and they don't have any self-inflicted errors? I've coached long enough to know that. You watch some film and say, okay, boy, this team's struggling. Are they struggling, or are they making some correctable mistakes? And what happens if they show up at your place and they correct all those mistakes, or you have to go play them and they correct all those mistakes? Very different team that way. So I think that's kind of hurt them. They still play really good defense. You know, and getting their starting quarterback back could be a big benefit for them. You know, I think we'll see a little bit different outfit than you've seen the last couple of weeks from them.
Hey, did you mention also that Nick was working on fundamentals this week? Was that just normal bye week stuff? Or?
Yeah, a lot. The bye week allows you just time to do things you might not have time to do. You know, you're worried about you know, the game plan, the checks, how we're doing this, what, you know, their defense very different than what we see at practice, you know, against ourselves. When you're offensively, when you're doing that, a lot of the reps now are, okay, how are we going to block, you know, these are how we're blocking against these plays, these are the routes we're going to run, these are the checks that we have in the game. And your game planning bye week allows you to take time and say, okay, well, we're not worried about how we're blocking this against that team. We get to really just worry about ourselves and our technique and our fundamentals.
You had 7 false starts in the Auburn game. What did you do last week, and what do you plan to do this week to try to correct that?
Hopefully stay on sides, you know. Hopefully being at home helps, you know. I mean, I hope they have 7 false starts that our crowd inflicts on them, you know. I mean, that's a tribute to the crowd and the atmosphere at Auburn that they created, that we have the opportunity, our fans have the same opportunity to create at home for us.
Des Harris is, you know, has come on as a senior, one of your defensive leaders and things. Was there ever a point with him, with all the injury stuff that he had to go through, where you probably looked at him and thought that there's no way he would get to this level that he's at right now?
Yeah, not as a player, because you always thought he'd have that. I always thought he had that potential to become a really good player for us, and he had a great personality. I guess the question is does he have the mental fortitude to go through all the adversity of coming back from multiple injuries to get here, you know? And so I thought there were times where, you know, he might just hang it up and just say, hey, you know, it might not be for me. And but I think if there was with him, and I think, you know, you talk, but he was able to fight through it and push himself through it. And I'm sure right now he's very happy that he has. Good deal. Hope you all have a great bye week. Hail State.